Hey, I'm Dan, and this is Dan's Planes. Here we are back with the Somethin Extra. We got our parts in so we can make more progress. So we've got our wheel collars in to attach to our shaft, and then we have our prop collet for the front where we're going to hold the propeller. So I added the wheel collar on, and man, the shaft was 8.09 millimeters, and the inside diameter of the wheel collet was 8 millimeters. So I really didn't know if it was going to slide on, but I was hoping. And as I always say, would rather be lucky than good. So I'll take it. And then the outside diameter was just right on the wheel collet to move, even with the little set screw sticking out, which is right here. It just barely misses the mount. So I put the two brass washers on there first. Then I put the wheel collar on, left some space in between the two. Of course, used thread lock on the set screw. Then thread locked these 4 screws into the motor mount. So now I'm going to install the extensions into here with these bolts and washers and thread lock those on as well. And this retaining clip, is that a C-clip? God, I always forget the name of these things. I don't deal with them very often, so don't have to use the terminology very often. But basically that's going to be a leftover part. We're not going to need that. These 4mm leads are also going to be left over because we already have that on our ESC, but we do need to change off this Dean's clip for whatever it is, XT something, I think. XT 60 or 90, I can't remember now. I think it's the XT, yeah, XT 90 is what it is on my 6S, and I think that's what I put on my 5S as well. All right, so let's get back into that. Next time we'll be back, should have a motor sticking out here. Be back in a flash. Here we have success, finally. 3-inch standoffs, rock solid. We've got a motor mounted. We have an ESC connected. We have new XT90 connector on there. So something I forgot I wanted to do. Excuse me, I was just dremeling. Got a lot of dust in my lungs. The previous person had the gas tank in here for the glow motor and had used CA to attach foam to the sides and the bottom, which is what all these spots were. So I ground off some of those. And what I forgot is that I've got uneven heights here, and I don't really have a support for the batteries, so I need to put in a battery tray. So first I'm going to build up this little piece here so it's even with this bulkhead, and then build up this to about the same height so it's level, but it doesn't really matter if it's level. I don't really care. It's not like I've got to get the electrons from one end of the battery. Hey, but who knows? Also, I'm just looking at this here. Unless I put some foam across here, I might want to do just a piece of wood just to guard against these nuts sticking out and having the battery accidentally hitting them as I'm changing the battery in and out, just over time. So maybe I want to do that. So just going to do a shot of this before I throw in the battery tray. Here are some pieces I'm going to use to build this up. But we've got a motor and we've got an ESC that are both ready and willing and ready to go. All right, so this should inspire you if you're sitting on the couch watching this to grab an airplane and go fly, or grab an airplane and start building or fixing, or grab a simulator and fly, or if you're at work, just dream about flying and go on YouTube, or you know, some of the groups and buy something that you probably shouldn't buy. All right, updates later. Okay, here we are with the motor installed, battery installed, battery tray installed, ESC installed. Don't know where to balance it at yet. I'm hoping the battery will be here or further to the nose. That way I would not have to unscrew the canopy. I could just do the magnetic hatch there, but we shall see. So I ran this up, and this thing, just going by memory, this is louder than I think any electric motor I've had in the past. Here's a listen. Oh, man, I don't know if you can tell, but that's piercing on the ears. It's better putting the hatch on. I think whatever frequency this noise has, I think it coincides with the shape of this empty fuselage, and I think this acts like a speaker box, enhancing that, and this kind of mutes it down a little bit. So there it is. Got to throw the prop and the collet on, and then balance it. So I'll be back after doing that. All right, we have a 14.7 prop on here. So I couldn't put on the tapered washer that would normally go up against the prop, because it would end up hitting the blades, and I don't want to chop off blade material and weaken the prop in that area for sure. So I put a little spacer washer in there and then turn the taper backwards. So I don't know if this is going to focus. There we go. Turn the taper backwards, and now it doesn't hit. And I can use it, not have it just sitting aside. Then also, this seems to be the right balance point. 3.5 inches from the back is where the magazine, the instructions are saying the center of gravity should be. And what I do is I get these things on each side as level as possible. Then I get the airplane as level as possible, set the battery on top, and slide it back and forth until I get to a point where those things again are level and the center line of the airplane looks level. So in these size planes, I eyeball it, and so far, knock on wood, it's done okay. So what I'm looking at is the center line of the wing, and does it match the blinds, which I believe are level, and also does it match the shelving. So I think we're looking pretty good here. Now to transfer the battery to the inside, there's a hole on this side, and it looks like we are about 1/4 inch forward of that hole. So hopefully we're not going to be getting into the compartment that holds the receiver, but like I figured, my battery tray is not long enough. And you know, I was afraid this was going to happen, especially with the motor so far out. So I almost didn't put the battery tray in to see where the battery was going to lay, but I thought, you know, that's still some weight that's going to affect your CG too, so I should probably put it in. What I could have done is just tack glued with a couple small dots of glue for the battery tray and put it in that way. So hopefully it's going to fit right. We will find out next. And here's the finished product. She's looking nice and straight. So it worked out that the battery actually goes right up to the rubber bands that hold the two wings on. I'll show you what I mean. See, the battery just goes up to the rubber bands. So that's a nice easy mark. But what I will also do is put, I think, a label here. These are my 5S batteries, and I could fly this 5 or 6S, but you know, 6S, I think I would have to go, well, I'm sure I'd have to go further tail heavy with it, and I'm running out of room here, so I don't know that I could put a 6S physically in here. But 5S's, I only have this one brand. I only have 2 of these. I'm gonna try to fly them in my Chipmunk and then flying them on here. So I could put a label here that basically along here is the CG point for this brand battery, because you never know how long your plane's going to be sitting, and then you forget where the CG is, especially when it's a new plane, and especially when you've been doing a whole bunch of plane stuff on a whole bunch of different planes. It's hard to keep track of all this stuff. At least for me it is. All right, so next up, let's weigh her and see what we're going to have for watts per pound. Okay, one more thing, just in an effort to be complete. I added a Velcro strap here to strap in the battery, and also added that label I was talking about as my CG mark for the battery. Then I threw the rubber band that you use for the two wings to connect together. I put that around this so it will hopefully not get lost. So here is my number 2 Somethin Extra that I'm retiring. When I say I've flown the covering off, I mean I've literally flown the covering off of this airplane. And in most places that I was able to, I cleaned the covering off really well, and then I used clear packing tape, especially around all the edges. But the tail with glow, the tail just gets soaked with glow. Even though I tried to have my exhaust away, I could have probably added an exhaust diverter, but I don't know if it would make that much difference on this particular plane. So, you know, this one, it's just everywhere you touch it, the covering's coming off, which on my new one, we just did, you know, first of all, I overheated the pinstriping, which bent some of it and also removed some of it, but some of it is already just peeling off, and then some of the clear coat on top of the monocoat covering is coming off already. So I don't know how old the covering is for that, but I'm surprised that it's already starting to come off. I hope it'll last longer than it did on the Glow. Then you can see on the Glow would always pool behind here. It happened on my other one too. This has the Evolution 52 in it. And see, it would pool behind here, which I had used a fuel proofing on it, and I'd done a fuel proofing in there, but it just tears up that corner and pools up there. So this is my old one. It felt heavier than the new one, but actually the new one came in heavier. So I'll give those stats here in a second. Okay, so one last thing to mention. I always forget this on new planes, and I know I'm not the only one. First of all, put your name, your contact information on your plane somewhere. So if it gets lost, flies away from you, or crashes in somebody else's yard or area, you can get it back. You can get the parts back, let them know who you are. And also, if you don't know what the AMA is, Academy of Model Aeronautics, I'd highly recommend you check them out. They're a kind of umbrella organization, a grassroots organization that's been around for 80 plus years in the US, that they help go to the government and petition on our behalf to be able to keep our flying fields, to keep flying planes, to not have overburdensome regulations that the government constantly tries to do. So they have lobbyists that help us with that. They have an actual a group of fields and a museum at their headquarters in Muncie, Indiana. They host events there throughout the year. One of the events is called the Nats, where there's competitions. So check out Academy of Model Aeronautics, the AMA, and consider joining them. It gives you insurance in case you hurt something or someone. And I think it might give you fire and theft insurance. Don't totally quote me on that, but I read an article that led me to believe that. I haven't been able to call them and check that out yet. So put your contact info on your planes and check out the AMA, and also adding fail-safe to the plane, which means if you were to get a brownout or blackout from the transmitter to the receiver would automatically go into a fail-safe mode. So it would automatically go into a certain position for the elevator, the rudder, the stabilizer. And usually what people do is just have it reduce the throttle or even kill the throttle and have it go in a circular pattern. And the idea is if you lost communication, it would slowly circle down until it hopefully would land without too much damage. Now, a problem that I'm going to have is on my new Radio Master TX16 for high tech, which is the receiver I'm using for this. I believe they don't offer a fail-safe option. So by going to that radio, I no longer have that ability to set that up. So that's definitely a disappointment. But I can say, I've been flying, I started with rubber band powered back in around 8th grade or so, and got into nitro and gliders, until about senior year of high school. Then lived life with college and marriage and pursuing a career and all that kind of stuff. So put it away and didn't get back into it until about 2002-ish, and been back to it since then. So been doing it for over a while, and thankfully, knock on wood, I haven't had the fail-safe condition exist yet. I've never had the brownout, even when I was flying FM transmitters. And my high tech, I had never heard of people having brownouts like people with Spectrum had, and I never had one. So thankfully, I'm thankful for that. All right, now moving on to the weights and stuff, the stats. Captain's log, supplemental. Before I can get more stats on the plane, I need to be able to hook it up to my dang power meter, which is set up for Dean's connections, whereas XT90 is what I'm using on my 5S and 6S, which I didn't test my jets and I didn't test my Chipmunk that I bought because, they were all sold already as is and already put together. So I trusted that the equipment worked right, but I didn't do any actual testing. I just want to fly, but we'll make up these connectors in only a snap amount of time for you guys, and then we'll get some readings. All right, here we are with our power checker. I'm gonna give it a try. Oh, that was brilliant. And that, my friends, is why you stay behind a plane. Wow. That collar didn't stay on at all. Okay. Well, we have to revisit that. Oh, I know why. I didn't actually tighten the nut. Oh, God, I'm my own worst enemy. Okay. Back in a minute. Totally forgot about that. Okay, attempt number 3. Let's see. Okay. So this is average. I don't want the average. Okay, the max. Okay. 51 amps. That's well within the 80 amp ESC. 735 watts. I know they had 1,000 before. At 1424 volts. And I think this battery was charged. I hope so. Maybe I better check that. Hold, please. Man, it's cold out here. Telemetry line. I hate the cold. Yeah, this battery is charged. Okay. Back together. Telemetry recovered. Get this figured out. All right, power checker. Okay. Okay, that's good enough. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Dan from Dan's Planes. I just want to share some content about RC planes, something I've been passionate about since childhood. I'm hoping I can teach something to someone, I can start some discussion and learn some things from others. So let's just have some fun and learn some things together. If you enjoyed what you watched, it would really help me out if you could like, subscribe, and share. And if you feel that it helped you out in some way, or it might help future viewers, I'd really appreciate it if you'd visit my Patreon page and become a patron. It's like throwing a dollar tip into a guitar case when you pass by. It helps to fund future content and future projects that I'll be working on. I plan to show some past content. I have some other flights and I have some fly-in events that I've been to. And I also plan to show future flights and future repairs, as well as building ARFs, and if I can ever get back to it, building my top flight Spitfire. So there's a lot of content to come, but it's viewers like you that are able to support what I'm doing, and by doing that, I'm able to spend more time creating that content in the future. So I'd really appreciate it. But either way, thanks for watching, and thanks for any support, and I wish you blue skies and good speed.